Racist cop pulls gun on black army general. Instantly regrets it. Racist cop pulls gun on black army general. Gets the shock of his life. Major General Sarah Miller, a decorated veteran of the U.S. Army, rarely had a day off. But today, she was indulging in some retail therapy. Dressed in a simple tracksuit and sneakers, her short-cropped hair streaked with silver, Sarah blended into the bustling Saturday crowd at the upscale Westfield Mall. After 2 decades in the military, leading troops in war zones, negotiating tense peace treaties, her mission today was simple: find a new pair of running shoes and maybe grab a smoothie afterward. As she browsed the athletic footwear section of a high-end store, Sarah noticed lingering stares. She was used to turning heads, but something about these glances felt off, suspicious, uneasy. Still, she brushed it off and continued shopping. She had no idea Officer Troy Beckett had just entered the mall. Beckett, a middle-aged cop with a gruff exterior, was known for his quick judgments and an even quicker trigger finger. He had a history of racial profiling complaints, though his department had always swept them under the rug. Today, Beckett was off duty, dressed casually in jeans and a t-shirt, but his badge and pistol were prominently displayed on his hip. As he passed the store, his eyes locked onto Sarah. Something about her upright posture, her commanding presence, set off his internal alarm bells. In his mind, she didn't fit the profile of a typical shopper in an upscale mall. He lingered near the entrance, pretending to check his phone, while keeping her in his sights. Unaware of the scrutiny, Sarah selected a pair of shoes and headed to the checkout. The young cashier gave her a nervous smile as he rang up her purchase. As she handed over her credit card, she noticed Beckett staring at her through the glass. A wave of unease hit her, but she pushed it down. The moment she stepped out of the store, Beckett blocked her path. "Excuse me, ma'am," he said gruffly. "I need to ask you a few questions." Sarah raised an eyebrow. "Is there a problem, officer?" "You are acting suspicious in there," he said, resting a hand on his holster. "Mind telling me what you were up to?" Sarah's patience, honed by years of handling high-pressure situations, was wearing thin. "I was buying shoes," she replied, holding up the bag. "Is that a crime?" "Let me see some ID," Beckett demanded. "Why?" she asked, her voice calm but firm. "Have I done something wrong?" His grip on his gun tightened. "Don't make this harder than it needs to be." And then it clicked. This wasn't about her actions. It was about the color of her skin. Her heart sank, but she stood her ground. "Officer," she said evenly, "I'm going to ask you to step back. I haven't done anything wrong, and I will not be treated like a criminal for shopping." But Beckett wasn't listening. His mind was made up. In a flash, he pulled his gun. The mall froze. Shoppers gasped. Mothers pulled their children close. Store clerks peered nervously from behind counters. Sarah's heart pounded, but she refused to panic. Years of military training kicked in. She slowly raised her hands, locking eyes with Beckett. "Drop the bag," he barked. Sarah let it fall to the floor. "Officer," she said, her voice unwavering, "you're making a mistake. Don't tell me what I'm doing." Beckett snarled. "Get on the ground." She hesitated. Kneeling meant submission, and she wasn't about to give this man the satisfaction. "Officer," she said, "I am Major General Sarah Miller of the United States Army. I suggest you lower your weapon." For a split second, Beckett faltered. There was an undeniable authority in her voice. But his prejudice clouded his judgment. "Yeah, right," he scoffed. "Get on the ground or else." "Or else what?" a voice cut in. A young man stepped forward, phone held high, recording everything. "She just said she's a general," he said. "Dude, you're pointing a gun at a hero." Beckett's face flushed. "Get out of here," he barked. But it was too late. More people pulled out their phones, capturing the scene. Sarah saw her opening. "Officer Beckett," she said, reading his name from his badge, "you're about to make the biggest mistake of your career. Stand down." Beckett's hand trembled. The crowd murmured louder. "Do you even know who you're pointing that gun at?" someone shouted. Just then, mall security arrived. 2 guards rushed over, their faces pale. "What's going on here?" one demanded. Beckett didn't answer. Sarah did. "This officer just drew his weapon on me for no reason," she stated. "I want to speak to his supervisor." Within minutes, the mall manager arrived, followed by a police captain who happened to be shopping nearby. Captain Denise Harper, a middle-aged black woman, took one look at Sarah and her jaw dropped. "General Miller?" she said, hurrying over. "What in the world is going on here?" Sarah kept her voice calm but firm, explaining in precise detail. Captain Harper turned to Beckett, fury in her eyes. "Holster your weapon, Officer Beckett," she commanded. He hesitated. "I said now." Reluctantly, Beckett obeyed. Harper turned back to Sarah. "I am so sorry, General. This is unacceptable." Sarah nodded. "It is. And I expect it to be dealt with." The fallout was swift. The video went viral, sparking national outrage. News outlets picked up the story. Beckett's history of racial profiling came to light. Within a week, he was suspended without pay, pending investigation. Meanwhile, Sarah received an outpouring of support from the public and her fellow service members. In an interview, she stated, "This isn't just about me. It's about the countless others who don't have the rank or platform to stand up for themselves. This has to stop." Her story became a rallying cry for justice, exposing the dangers of racial profiling and abuse of power. It was a stark reminder that no matter one's status or achievements, Black people can still be targeted for simply existing. But it also showed the power of community, the importance of bystander intervention, and the role social media plays in holding those in power accountable. Sarah Miller stood up, not just for herself, but for the many who never get the chance. And the world listened.